It's like, I don't. What's next in robotics? Let's see what Nvidia. Nvidia is a good channel because they're actually smart. Oh damn, is he live? Is the freak live? Okay, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
What's exciting is how fast the technology is.
All right, we'll do a little programming.
We see a lot of progress.
We'll do a little programming, I guess. You guys gotta interact if you go on if you want to keep me, because I'm getting tired. Thank you for the follow, Minecraft Respecter.
Changing what we can do with robotics.
Physical AI is going to have a transformational impact on the real physical world.
Jensen's done a really good job describing the compute.
See, that's like the thing is like, what's going on? Why? That's like the one weird like red flag. Is like, what's going on? What is happening here?
And the platforms that it takes to be able to get robotics at scale, we have to take the data that we have, 100 years of data on how machines operate in job sites. We're utilizing NVIDIA inference services, the NVIDIA AI factory. But really the entire NVIDIA ecosystem has allowed us to bring those AI capabilities to where our customers are using the machines in the field.
NVIDIA's products and the infrastructures is a very important part of our development cycles.
Facts.
The simulation stack very dramatically accelerates our development cycle. We can use Isaac Sim and Omniverse to...
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They basically create like a simulation of like things and then train the robots in the simulation. And then the robots learn. They use machine learning to automate their learning. And then that transfers to the same material, which is like cloth, in the real world.
Construct a
it's kind of crazy.
Identical digital twin.
We're using simulation tools like Omniverse, Isaac Sim, Isaac Lab. This gives us the capabilities to see before we build something, how it will work out, and then make it much more efficient. It also allows us to collect data in simulation to train our models.
As we continue to accelerate our journey with AI, simulation will be absolutely critical. We're really excited to take that real world data and then generate data that we can then use to train and simulate robots at scale.
With Cosmos, we can now be testing, training, and validating.
So like a good example of what you could do with this is you could just get every Nick Fuentes stream and every debate he's ever done. And you could trace his path of like success and trace how he dealt with different controversies and things he did well and things he did poorly, and then have somebody who's like training, like debate him and then like set him up for failure because they would know exactly how he's going to act, what exactly he's going to say, and how exactly to push his buttons. And you can do this with anybody, really. That's like why it's like not worth spending your time doing that. It's over. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's done. Everything's just finished. And there's no possible way to have it not be finished.
Against scenarios that we've
it's
never
over.
experienced in the real
Completely.
world. And so that's absolutely essential as we're looking to commercialize the technology, to have that broad testing capability.
We're using Cosmos Transfer to generate new artificial training data on top of the physical data that we're recording from human operators. So this gives us really the opportunity to collect more variety on data and make our models much better.
All these things can be done, sometimes 95% in the simulated environments. Then we deploy the physical machine into the real environment to finish that last mile adaptation.
We're utilizing AI to help those operators when they get in the cab of the machine to be able to get to work as quickly as they can.
I think in the next year we will really see how physical AI will change production, manufacturing. It will change how we see robotics overall.
The ecosystem that NVIDIA has built around industrial AI has allowed us to redefine and set the pace for what the next 100 years is, and we're ready to do it.
It's over, guys. I'm sorry. It's like, you don't understand. This is done. Now, part of it is like advertising and pushing things forward. But at the end of the day, it's like not. It's not advertising. It's just the time. Maybe the timing's a little off, but no, it's not. It's just completely done, and there's no future. There's no like way in which it's not going to happen. Because whoever gets better at it is going to make more money doing it, and whoever makes more money with it is going to be more successful, and the more successful people are going to win. So it's like, it's just done. Yeah, they definitely already use it in politics. Yeah.
Hello, it's great to see all of you. You know, once a year I get the benefit of
Is UBI is
thanking all of
inevitable, you
for
think?
the-
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think just arguing with people and then people killing each other is probably inevitable. Like, I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to, like, let it happen, but, like, pipe it into, like, some form of killing poor people. Like, I think that's the best bet. Not, like, in terms of what, like, is nicest, but I think that's, like, the best bet is, like, kill off a lot of people. I don't know how it's going to happen, but there's got to be some, like, simulation where it's, like, yeah, get them to argue about this, get them to argue about that until they literally start murdering each other. And then once they're all done murdering each other, and then we're, you know, because the thing is, like, AI is changing so fast. Like, that's the thing, in my opinion, to think about is, like, AI is getting so much better and better and better and better and better that that's faster than a generational change. That's like, in a year, that's like a generational change. And then another year, another generational change. So you can't wait for people to catch up. You can't wait for society to catch up. Things are changing too fast for society to catch up. So, like, the only way to fix it is to kill a lot of people. However that happens, I don't know. But I think that's the only way. I think exponential, like, things will exponentially change, which will mean society will exponentially change, which means, like, who's going to get what will exponentially change. The haves and the have-nots will exponentially change, and the gap will exponentially widen. Well, how do you deal with that? You can't hold society back, because if you hold society back, whoever's not holding society back, they're going to be more and more successful and outcompete you. And that's not what people who are rich want. So, like, why wouldn't it end with, like, yeah, we just need all the poor people to kill each other, and all the people who are not able to take advantage of this to kill each other, and then we move forward completely, like the reason Europe has a way better internet than America is because America got internet first. And because we got internet first and we built up the systems, we have the older technology, we have the older lines. In Europe, they have fiber and they have all that stuff because they were slower in adopting it. So almost, you know, is that basically we have the infrastructure for the old world, so we don't have the incentive for the new world. That's kind of how I think rich people and, like, people with power are seeing, like, this, in that, like, you have all these people who are not suited for the new world of technology, and if you keep them alive, they're just going to slow you down. The people who kill off all the people who are not suited for the new world of technology and leave only people who are suited for it, they're going to win, because they're going to have people who are they're going to build their societies for the new world way faster than the people who are using and comfortable with the old technology. And I really do think that's what's going to happen. I don't know how, but I think that's pretty much like a foregone conclusion, because what they're going to, like, oh, they're going to feel bad. They're going to feel bad for killing you. Why would they feel bad? Do you feel bad when you step on a bug? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not nice, but it's also not the end of the world. It's like, that's how the world works. It's like, do we feel bad for people who lost their jobs making, you know, horse and buggies? No, we don't. Because it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Do we feel bad for the people who try to make books and they suck at them? It's like, no. Do we feel bad for people who are, like, you know, trapped in poverty and lose? Like, no, it's like, it sucks, but, like, at the end of the day, I can't. There's too many people to feel bad for. I think it's the same thing with, like, rich people, where it's like, they probably don't really feel bad, and it's not like they're evil necessarily. It's evil to us, but it's not evil to them, because it's like, we're not even in the same species, right? To them. AI is flawless. Well, AI is not flawless, but it's way faster. Like, a good example is, this is not the same thing, but it's very similar in terms of, I had this old Person Online Twitter account, and it's like, I didn't do any work getting the content for it. All I did was I saw popular things be retweeted on my timeline and saved it to a folder. And then I had it randomly post from that folder. And then within, like, a year, I had, like, 150,000 followers. Not because I did any hard work, but because it was just very consistently, even when I was sleeping, every 55 minutes, posting an image or a video that I knew was popular, because it was popular when it popped on my timeline. So it was just basically, the algorithm was the people, right? And then, like, the scoring was the retweets, likes. And because of that, I was able to select the stuff that people like generally. And it doesn't matter that it wasn't manned by a person, and it wasn't, you know, contextual, and it wasn't somebody who really liked what they were posting. It was just a robot basically posting randomly. Because I had an algorithmic way of having it consistently post stuff that was popular, I didn't have to worry about anything, and it outcompeted everybody else who's like a person, right? Because it essentially just taking the more viral stuff. It's not like it was smarter, it was perfect. Some of the stuff were dud, some of the posts didn't go anywhere. But eventually, over enough time, because it's constant, It's just like perfect, like one. I think it's the same thing with technology, where it's like the AI doesn't need to be perfect; it just needs to be consistent. If it's consistent, it doesn't matter if it's perfect, because guess what? All the times it fails, nobody cares. It just goes away. And every time it like tricks a person into doing something, that's a benefit for whoever's running the bot, because they can run 1,000 bots, they can run 10,000 bots, they can run 20,000 bots, and if even if like half the posts fail, they can just choose the fake accounts to go viral and the fake influencers that go viral and the posts that go viral. Same thing with like rich people who are trying to influence your opinion on politics, on technology, on ideas, on what you want to do for your future. They don't have to have every single post by AI be convincing to you. They just need 1 out of every 10. And if they can post 10 million posts, now it's 1 million posts that you just read over the course of your life that are influencing you and influencing your friends to like somebody, dislike somebody, like technology, dislike technology, like them, dislike them, believe this, believe that. They don't need everything to be perfect. It's like they just have the consistency of like boom, 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 boom. And when you scale it out and you make it way, instead of like when I did was very by hand, very slow. It's like they can do it algorithmically, where they can look at the images and be like, oh, this is why this is funny, this is why this is funny, this is why this is funny. Make something that's original based on what we found. This was funny back then because of what was going on and some context. But what's something that's similar now? Oh, Punch the Monkey, right? Punch the Monkey, Harambe, whatever. Like they say, oh, it's a monkey. It's a famous monkey. There's some aspect of monkeys that are viral. Oh, there's some aspect of how we see ourselves in relation to monkeys. And then we wouldn't be thinking that, but the AI that they're making for that. And then all of a sudden they posts it. So then that influencer who's fake gets promoted. They go viral, get more followers for the next thing. And so it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, there's no reason, and there's no at all reason to suspect that this is going to stop or get worse. So like, why would at any point, politics or every single thing that relates to emotion, that relates to public anything on the internet is like fucked, and it will never get unfucked. It's just gonna get worse and worse and worse, and it's literally done. There's no way. We've seen that it's possible. It's the same thing with dial-up. Once we've had dial-up internet, you should know eventually you're gonna have instant internet. You have dial-up. There's no reason to suspect that it's gonna stop getting faster. And so the only thing you really can't know is how that, when it's super fast, is going to impact things. You can only really extrapolate outwards. It's just done. It's just done. Like there's no, that's why it's like try to figure out how to make something that's fun and like cool, because that's really the only thing that really is like interesting, because you're going to be outcompeted. If you're trying to manipulate people, if you're trying to impersonate people, you're going to get like mogged by somebody who's like just going to be, and anything that's like negative or trying to take advantage of people, it's literally that. You're just going to get like screwed. The only thing that you can really use it for is like creative stuff, interesting stuff that really is, because everyone's going to be influenced by the algorithms, even they already were, but like even more obviously now. And even people offline are going to be influenced because like, what am I eating? Well, I'm eating this because I think this is cool. Why do I think this is cool? Because somebody who saw something online that was posted by AI thinks this is cool and told me about it. So even if I was completely offline, I'm still going to be impacted because like people operate in the world. We're talking about robots. Like that's like a thing that people don't really understand. It's like you talk about robots. Oh, they're going to be able to be cyborgs and they're going to come and kill everybody. And it's like, well, what do we have now? We have people who are basically being influenced by the media, whether the streamers or the news or boomers, right, with their news or radio or newspapers. And that information is then changing their mind to then go kill somebody on the other side of the world. That's what's been happening since forever. So like the only thing that's changed is that now we have literal robots do it, but also it's like the robots that are people, the NPCs that are people, they're just getting like their brain fucked like so much faster and so much more efficiently than in the past. There's no way, there's no aspect in which this is any different. It's just like speeding up, just like the internet goes from dial-up to broadband to fiber, right? To Starlink. It's like the same thing as like the propaganda goes from like telling somebody and like the stories and then like newspapers and books and like radio and TV and now the internet and now it's going to be AI of all that stuff. And it's just done. Yeah, it's literally just done. So it's like, yeah, people are literally just robots to the elite. So like, why wouldn't they replace people with better robots? Why not? What's an aspect of you that is they prefer you to a robot? And like the only really answer you can think of that is like being interesting in a positive way. That's really the only way. And not for the purposes of survival, but for the purposes of genuinely being interesting and genuinely caring about something. But the other thing, I don't see the reason why they're going to try to hold back society rather than just kill everybody. Why wouldn't they? Really, the only thing they need people for is like testing drugs and testing like how to live forever so they can survive and transfer their consciousness. And what past that, what's the use of people? Can we get rid of AI? No, because it's like it's a tool. It's like fire. It's like or like a lever or a gun. It's like guns kill people. Like, can you get rid of guns? No, because the people who want to get rid of the guns are not going to be. They're going to be killed by the people with guns. It's the same thing. The same reason Ted Kaczynski is like a moron is because it's like, oh, you get rid of all technology. Okay, you use technology to do that, and then you stop, and then somebody's like, well, I like not having to work, and I know you can make a computer. They're gonna make a computer. Why wouldn't they? You know, it's like that sort of thing. Like it only goes in one direction. It never goes back permanently. It can like be paused or slowed down. But all technology is efficiently moving resources from point A to point B faster. Whether it's mental resources like information, like in a book or on a computer, or physical resources like a pile of dirt. And the people who are more efficient are better, right? And if they move resources faster, they win games. It's like if I'm playing a game with you and I can make 10 times the decisions as you at the 10 times the rate, right? I'm just going to win, even if I'm malicious, even if I'm evil, even if I hate you, even if I am not even doing stuff as well. Just by virtue of being able to make faster decisions, I'm going to beat you because at the end of the day, faster decisions beat better decisions slower. It's over. So just give me your money. That's really it.
We pioneered a new way of doing computing called accelerated computing. And we've been working on this for now 33 years. The big idea is that if you could co-design, meaning if you understood the problems you're trying to compute for, and you develop
thanks for the follow-up.
Meaning the algorithms,
cool, Steve,
the computers, and the processors within it, that if you co-designed, you solved the problem from top down, you solved the problem from bottom up and inside out, that you could accelerate.
And that's what I'm saying. I think, I think the idea is it's going to kill off a bunch of people. I think that's really what's going to happen somehow. I don't know how it's going to be, but whatever it is, I think it's been like figured out. But I think like also that can't be stopped. So like, why? It's to be like arguing, seeing a meteor, like being a dinosaur and seeing a meteor heading towards the Earth. And you can be like, oh no, there's a meteor heading towards the Earth. Or you can be like, oh yeah, there's a meteor heading towards the Earth. How do I avoid the meteor? And I think that's where we're at. Not that like, and it's not going to be like preppers. It's not going to be like hiding in the center of the Earth. It's not going to, I think it's literally just going to be like people who are managing to keep themselves sane and positive in a world that's going to get increasingly negative and freaky and weird. And that's hard to say now because like think about how negative and weird the world is. And I think the only way to do that is like instead of being scared of stuff, be positive and be like, okay, like this is an interesting idea. This is some cool thing. What can I do with AI? What can I do with this like new form of intelligence, a new form of life, really, new form of like productivity. And if you're not doing that, you're just gonna get overwhelmed because stuff is changing so fast. Stuff is changing so thick. So it's like it's gonna be overwhelming because like this is a meteor. But if you're like saying, oh, I'm using this tool, like for me, like I'm working on the AI stuff for like the game, and it's like frustrating. It's like annoying me. So, but if just say like tomorrow I woke up and there was this new AI model that's like super intelligent. It's gonna be like if I wasn't doing anything with it, I'd be like, oh damn, it's faster and faster. But in the case of where I'm at right now, if I got like if there was this new AI model that dropped tomorrow and like made, I was like, first thing I would think is like, that's really cool. I wonder if that's gonna fix my problems that I'm trying to like deal with without me having any hassle. So all of a sudden, my reaction to the new technology goes from being like, damn, I'm really like miserable. This is making my life. How am I gonna like survive? To like, well, I wonder if this is gonna make my life even better. So then mentally the shift is like, even if like if both are like equally valid and both maybe should be held at the same place, you are like psychologically going to be like, this is good or this is bad. Like everyone always chooses sides, right? It's like left wing, right wing, Christian, Muslim, atheist, Jewish, whatever, Satanist, American, whatever, Chinese. It's always sides. It's always this is good, this is bad. So like, even if technically speaking, like it's bad, but then also there's a good aspect to it. Whatever it is, you're going to really choose one or the other, like mentally, psychologically. And if you choose the one that's bad, guess what? It's like the AI is not going to slow down or get worse. So if you're like think AI is bad and psychologically you're like, this is actually really bad for humanity, which it really is. But if that's like your main impulse, you're like screwed because it's just going to get worse and worse. The AI is going to get better and better. There's no way in which this is going to stop. Even if it stopped right now completely, like getting better, which is not going to, just say like the intelligence completely halted, it froze, that intelligence is still like going to fundamentally change the world in a way where we're not ready. Like society's not ready for it. It's already gotten to the point where people can make so many prototypes so fast and simulate things so fast that that's going to fundamentally change it, the haves and the have-nots, and widen the gap even further. So it's like if that's like that, I'm saying like you have to really be like find a way where it's like the better it gets, the happier I am. Because if you don't, it's gonna be the better it gets, the worse I feel, and it's gonna get better and better and better and better and better and better, and it's gonna get faster and faster and faster and better. So it's like literally like that's the only shot of surviving and being happy over the next like 5, 10, 15 years is figuring out a way to integrate some aspect of it to where every time it gets better, it makes whatever you're working on easier. Because that's the only way you're not going to be like completely just like fucked in the head and miserable and not able to get out of bed.
These applications,
Hopefully that
which
makes
are
sense.
incredibly computing intensive by a level that Moore's law would only dream of. Moore's law runs at about 10 times every 5 years, 100 times every 10 years. In the last 10 years, we've accelerated AI about 1 million times. 1 million times versus 100 times. 1 million times compounded over 20 years gives us an opportunity to maybe address some of the most incredible, most impactful challenges of humanity. That's you. And so we've been thinking about accelerated computing. And
once you're going to see it, I'm telling you this, you're going to see balding go away. Like, right, so you know AI is not fully sentient yet, and how we haven't figured out everything yet, is once you start seeing balding go away, that's when you know it's over, and they finally figured everything out. That's the last thing.
Co-design idea for a very long time. Well, after some 30 years or so, each different fields of computing domains became within reach. One of the first ones was computer graphics. And somebody told me about 10 years ago that it would take 30 years for us to solve this incredibly hard problem called ray tracing for computer graphics, literally following every photon of light as it bounces around the room, eventually reaching your eyes. And using ray tracing, you could solve for really interesting computer graphics problems and create photorealistic images like this. Well, that was 10 years ago.
I can't even do 3 lights on my game without dropping frames. He's talking about ray tracing. There's something wrong with how I'm doing the game.
It would take 30 years. It was the computer graphics problem that was always the future. And literally today, we ray trace every single pixel in a computer graphics program in our video games. And not only do we ray trace it incredibly beautifully, we do it at several hundred frames a second. As large of a resolution.
I do it at 30 frames per second.
We've taught our
You need another graphics card? No, that's not that, dude. I can run Titanfall on a computer max setting, so it's like if I can do that, there's something I'm doing that's incorrect. Like I can run a lot of games properly on my computer.
To simulate with first principle simulations, very few pixels, and then we use AI to predict the rest of it. We teach an AI what an image should look like, and it generates the image for us. It's temporal consistent, it's spatially consistent, it's incredibly beautiful. It looks even better than we compute. Well, each one of these different domains are becoming within reach. About 10 years ago, we started talking about self-driving cars. Today, I think we are at the ChatGPT moment of self-driving cars. There's no question in my mind that within the next 10 years, almost every car that gets manufactured will have, of course, either robotaxi capability, or if you like to drive yourself, you still can, but it has the ability to be a robotaxi. That future is just around the corner. Each one of these domains are within reach. Now, of course, we now have the ChatGPT moment. The last year, we've seen incredible progress in generative AI, in large language models. These ideas made it possible for us to take an AI that we thought was magical, but hallucinated a great deal. It was essentially cute and very interesting to something that is incredibly useful. This last year, last couple of years, breakthroughs in multimodality AIs. Not only do you understand the word cat and the letter CAT, you could look at an image and hear the sound meow and recognize all of those words, all of those information is aligned to the same place in your brain. And We can now do that with all kinds of different
You can hear
modalities,
meow,
which
meow.
is very important to you.
That's like the weirdest part too. Is like, what are these people doing? Why is people like in charge of these, like the world now, saying things like meow? You know, it's like things are weird. Odd things are happening, and odd things will continue to happen because you have really rich people acting very odd, very sus.
We made huge breakthroughs in reasoning capabilities to be able to decompose through composition, break down a problem we've never seen before into routine things, and through that composition, solve problems step by step, reasoning through hard problems. The ability to do multimodality reasoning and to be grounded by different sources of information is going to be a revolution even for your industry. It is clearly a revolution in ours. The idea that we would use multimodality sensors, very sensible. But the idea that a car, a self-driving car stack that can think, because it can reason through and experience a situation it's never experienced before, reason through it step by step, and be able to solve that problem, navigate through it, incredible capabilities. It expanded the operating domain of self-driving cars tremendously. It's now the case that we are very certain we don't have to test every single car across every single scenario in order for that car to do well, just like us. That we can now have a car that can think and be basically intelligent. These techniques has made, and of course, agentic capabilities, the ability for agents to reason, use tools, work with other agents, completely revolutionary. And so these breakthroughs in the day that I've been here is permeating your industry, permeating life sciences, some of the most exciting work that I've seen in a very long time. And so today, we announced a very important
Guy's awesome. Yeah, I like him a lot.
partnership. But before I get there,
I think the Anthropic guy is good
we
too.
announced, of course, some of the work that we've done with all of you. We've brought an accelerated computing platform, but on top of that are a suite of libraries that we're very proud of. Parabricks for gene sequencing, Monai, an open source platform for medical imaging, and one of the most important ones, BioNeMo, a platform that understands geometric structures like molecules and proteins. And these platforms are used by many of you in the room, and I'm very grateful for that. The several announcements that we made, before I say that, there are so many partners here, a couple of hundred different companies here. They're pharmas, they're hospitals, they're startups. There are startups in robotics, surgical robotics. There are startups in robotics labs. There are agentic AI companies here, helping with healthcare diagnostics, and also some really cool work being done in AI scientists. You know, part of being at the JP Morgan event is large companies meeting small companies, and so many of them are doing revolutionary work. And I'm so grateful that all of you have chosen the NVIDIA platform to work on. And so our platforms ended up achieving some really great results. Monai has been downloaded some 6 million times. We achieved the Guinness World Record of gene sequencing. You know, that's cool.
Very astute, Jeffy. Very,
I've always wanted
very,
to be in the Guinness World Record. So that's
very sharp.
the vast majority of the world's structure prediction models are built on NVIDIA today. And so I'm really proud of that. And on top of the BioNeMo platform are a whole bunch of pre-trained models. You use it for data processing, you use it for training these biological models, you use it for fine-tuning. But we also have a whole bunch of pre-trained models and a bunch of data that you can start with, and you could.
What's up, Paul's and Tether Love?
Fine-tune your molecules, and some of the models that we've created and participated in and jointly developed. Really proud of La Proteina for protein design, Resyn for molecular synthesis, Kermit for predicting toxicity, Evo2, a DNA foundation model, These foundation models start. Of course, we're trying to learn the representation of proteins so that we can create a foundation model for protein. But the moment that time where we're going to learn a representation and create a foundation model for cells is just around the corner. The multi-protein systems, Codon FM for RNA design. Just really terrific, really terrific progress. And so today, we announced a large number of partners that are working with us.
Yeah, what's Chuck Johnson up to? Did he get her out? He got like
and we also
let out, right?
Announced a really landmark partnership with one of the most important companies in the world, and a really great friend, Dave Ricks, and Lilly. And so,
who's that?
Without, I won't tell you more about it. I'm gonna let the two of us.
The goat is out.
But Dave, he's been.
Yeah, what is Chuck Johnson up to?
2017, and in the context.
Bioterrorism is there. I think yeah, that's the thing too. Is like. There's a few questions you have to ask yourself, which is there's two potential realities with this AI stuff. Okay, and this is going to be like something that I think Generation Alpha will really internalize probably when they're older. Give it 10 years or so. There's going to be somebody like me who's like smarter, who's like Generation Alpha, who's like tapped in. They'll probably hate me, but they'll be like me. Is that your two distinct possibilities? One, there's a bunch of released viruses from terrorists and explosions and terrorism and mass murder and terrorist activity and stuff like it's just bioweapons because the AI is gonna get better and better. And that's just gonna happen because there's crazy people in the world. The second possibility is that there isn't. And if there isn't, what you have to ask yourself is, why not? And then the only real conclusion you can come to is that there never was people like that. And there never was people who really wanted to kill everybody. And there never really has been these weird, like, apocalyptic groups that really exist. Because if they did exist, they would have killed everybody. And I personally put my money on number two, that's not really a thing. You'll basically just be like, thank you for the corporate browsing. I don't think that's a thing. I don't like, it's like, if it could have happened, it would have happened. It's not happening. There's no terrorists that blow up planes. It's not like a thing that's ever happened, ever. It's not real. It's like people just don't do stuff like that. Like if people wanted to kill people, they would just walk up and stab somebody in the neck. And that would just happen all the time. If there was 1 out of every 1,000 people did that, do you know how many like just random stabbings there would be all the time? When it happens, it's like 1 out of like 1,000,000 people. It's like just not a thing. Like terrorists and like people who want to just kill everybody, that's not a thing. Especially now, you'll see it because it's like if there were people like that, they would just make a virus that would kill everybody, and that would have already happened. They would blow up buildings. They would do extreme terrorism. That would have happened. People would know how to make bombs. That would happen. It's not happening. Why not? Because that's not a thing. That's just like a fake thing people say. Like at the end of the day, all this stuff is like people don't naturally want to kill each other. They're like pushed into it and they get hyped up and like psych themselves out. It's like the people who got, the ICE agents who shot the woman in Minneapolis and the woman in Minneapolis and the people who like kill each other. Most people don't want to do that. They just get into like retarded situations. And why do they get into retarded situations? They get pushed into them. It's just not happening. It's literally just not happening. And if it was happening, it would have happened. Why isn't it happening? Because it's not real.
Of the history of Lilly, a 150-year-old company, he's been with the company for 30 years. So he's
Thank you, big money
basically
game.
a new college grad in the context of Lilly. And I'm anxious to learn from him.
You need to get high. I don't need to get high.
Learned so much in just a short period of time. But he's been with Lilly now 30 years. And as you know,
it's just
he
not
has helped
a thing,
guide
dude.
And help build Lilly into one of the most valuable companies in the world, and surely one of the most important companies in the world. And so if you could, join me in welcoming my guest, David Ricks.
Terror ended after 9/11. Yeah, that's not real. Like 9/11 wasn't real, dude. Did anyone ever go to the 9/11? September 11th? Did anyone ever go to those towers? Those towers weren't even real. No, those towers are real. But like that's the thing. It's like what? So some people like just train to fly a jet. It's like, what? Like, it's very odd. It's a very odd situation. There are bad people, but why don't they just? I think bad people are genuinely bad people. Are IQ gated. I think that's really reality. I think over a very low IQ level, there's not many bad people. There's just people who use bad people against other bad people. Favorite X-Files season? Season 8.
Very happy to be here. So it turns out the two of us have I can't imagine more different upbringing. So Dave was an Eagle Scout, and I went to a juvenile delinquent school. Just to be clear, I was placed there as an accident. It wasn't. It was a very good school. It was very affordable. And so 2017, he became CEO.
Yes.
My question is this.
It's like what people don't get too. Like what's so weird about this is this is a graphics card company and a medicine company doing like a keynote. It's like this shouldn't be happening on so many different levels. Not in terms of like, oh, it's wrong, but it's just like weird. Like things are so weird now, and like that's another like two possibilities of people are like AI is gonna fail, AI is fake. It's not, but just say it was. The economy would crash. It's basically like if this works, the economy is going to crash because the world is like completely different, and like capital is going to flow completely differently, which is going to break so many different things and break society. If it works, if it doesn't work, the economy is going to crash because it's propped up on AI. So either way, the economy, like society's just done. Like that's like the thing I'm trying to stress to you guys so much. You have to find stuff that's positive and stuff that's like proactive and stuff that's not related to being successful in society, because it's not too long before nobody is successful in society, because society is going to be completely different. Like it 100%, it has to be. It doesn't mean it's going to be different in this way or that way. You can't really predict it. I personally think like, yeah, a bunch of people have to die, not because it's like they have to die because I'm based. It's just they have to die because it doesn't how society, capital doesn't flow the way it's going to flow. Like it has flowed in the past, but like people have to die because things are broken. It's like if a ship has a hole in it, people on the ship have to die. Not because I hate those people on the ship, just because the ship is sinking. Everyone's going to die. That's like what's happening with like society. The ship is sinking. Somehow most people in it have to die. Not because they're bad, not because I'm better than them, not because I'm not going to die, not because you're not going to die, not because I am going to die or whatever. Just because all society and all of things are structured in a way which makes sense based on like things that are not making sense anymore, and they work differently now. So people are going to have to die, not because it's a moral thing, not because they're good or bad, not because white people are good or bad, black people, rich people, smart people. It's not even like, that's the thing. It's so different now. It's not going to be this group of people need to die. This ethnic group, this racial group, this IQ group, this rich group, this poor group, this gender, this people believe this or that. There's like some metric by which we don't even have like a classification system for, are going to die, and it's going to be this metric that it's going to start to become more visible, because that's going to be who's succeeding, who's failing, and it's going to be based on this new incentive structure, which I don't even know how to really map out. I think it's just imagination is one of them, and the ability to choose to be happy and the ability to choose to look at stuff that makes you happy. I think that's really, because I think it's really just like everything, your ability to focus and like get rid of bad things out of your consciousness and things that are causing you distress in some way for a logical reason or illogical reason. Your ability to be true to yourself and like say, hey, this is annoying me. I don't want it around. This is making me happy. I want it around. And just do that over, oh, this is moral. This is immoral. This is good. This is bad. I think that's going to be like a weird fission point. No, dude, you've gone mad. Yeah. But no, that's the thing, is like, I think that's what's going to happen. And it's not a moral thing. It's not, this is a good thing, this is a bad thing. I think those are like outmoded. I think you could objectively say certain things are going to be very, very bad about what's about to happen and what is happening. And you could say things are objectively very morally good. But I don't think that's a useful metric or by which way to choose your life. It's like with Sodom and Gomorrah, with like Lot and Lot's wife. It's like in a normal world, it's like, well, isn't it immoral? Isn't it bad not to save your wife? Isn't it bad when your wife dies to not mourn, to not like stop and say this is horrible? It's like, yeah, that's like kind of weird and like bad. But in the context of God destroying Sodom and Gomorrah, turning back would be a horrible thing, because guess what? It's time to go. And I think that's where we're at in terms of like the value system, and in terms of how to see the world and how to see life and death and who it wins and loses and what metric we're measuring things by. I think it's literally like a matter of survival. It's like you have the asteroid coming, we're dinosaurs, and the asteroid is about to hit, and everyone might die. That literally might be the case. Everyone just dies because like everything's just too chaotic. Everyone literally dies. But I don't think that happens. I think generally it's like tools, people who, it's like the more powerful a tool is, the more dangerous it is. But there are going to be some people who can handle it well. And I think you have to figure out, how can I handle it well? Because you can't avoid it. Because if you avoid it, your friends aren't going to avoid it. People you're competing with for jobs aren't going to avoid it. So it's like you're pretty much screwed. Everyone has to either compete or lose. Dinosaurs are get by a meteor. Yeah. And I think that's, I think there has to be some sort of mass death, not because of like we need to make it happen. I think in terms of like when you have such a fundamental change in how society works, fundamentally society has to change, and you can't have fundamentally society changing if people aren't going to change with it. And most people aren't going to adjust to using this. Most people aren't smart enough. Most people aren't disciplined enough. So the only thing to say is you get rid of the people. How does that work? Well, it has to be fast, because technology is changing fast. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion.
What was Lilly like?
Mate, you're on kick advocating race war. No, I'm not. That's the thing. I don't think it's racial too. I think certain races are like more suited for different things. I don't think we're driving. I don't think we're in the driver's seat. I think we're like, get out of the way. There's like a train coming. And most people are on the train tracks, and maybe you can pull yourself and pull a few other people away from it. But really at the end of the day, it's like, most people want to be on the train track for some reason, and you're not going to stop most people from being on the train track. So the best way is somehow convince yourself to pull yourself off the train track, knowing that most people you care about are going to be on the train track. How do you even do that? Is that even possible? Is everyone just going to be stuck on the train track? That's really the question, is like, can you find it in yourself to not care about people you care about? And if you can, there's other failure modes where it's like you pull yourself off the train track first, and because you do it so early, you get pulled back on the train track or get killed, because people are like, why do you think you're good enough to get off the train track? There's like a specific time you have to jump off the train track to survive, and if you jump too early, you'll die, because like everyone is going to be like, I hate you, why'd you jump off the train track? And you see it with people hating tech people, and then there's people like that sort of thing. Like when the Google glasses came out, that's a good example. People put Google glasses on, and they got mugged because they were weird looking, and they looked like weird, ugly cyborgs. They were like tech people. That's an example of like, yeah, it's features to technology. It's like too fast, and after a while, you get punched in the face and your glasses stolen. It's the same thing with this, where it's like some people are going to get so good and be so obviously superior and so obviously successful, they'll literally just get murdered. And whether like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but 100% that's going to happen. It's like, that's why you have all these, like, that's what I'm saying, like Lilly and Nvidia, and you have the guy from Anthropic, and they're very, very, very specifically positioning themselves in ways where, especially the NVIDIA guy and the Anthropic guy, they're positioning themselves in very humanistic, very like, I'm kind of like normal, and I'm like very thoughtful, and I want to make sure everyone's okay, because they know, like, there's no way they don't know this isn't going to end in disaster. But they're in the position where they can't step down, they can't stop, because they know if it's going to end in disaster, well, if it's ending in disaster, I want to be in charge of the disaster, right? Because if I'm in charge of the disaster, chances are I'll probably survive it. It's like we're in such a weird sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think, what if, and I'm just throwing this out there, they're earnest. They can be earnest. That's the thing, is like you can be earnest. And also, I'm being earnest in saying this, right? So I'm coming out on a limb. I could be wrong, right? But it's like, I'm being earnest. Like, you can be earnest and be like, well, I'm self-preservation. You know what I mean? Do you think COVID vax equals depopulation? I don't know enough about the COVID vaccine. I mean, it's not what it is. It could just be a money grab. It didn't really make sense. That's the thing. I would say the biggest thing about it is it didn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. They knew that the gene therapy thing is bad. So maybe it's connected to this stuff. Maybe it's connected to like we're going to see how it affects people's DNA in different ways. I don't know. It's just a weird, very weird thing. It's definitely because it's a very odd, like it was well known that it doesn't work before. And like, it's not like conspiracy theories. It's like anybody who looked into it and did basic research realized that like, this is not good. So I don't know enough about it. There's some weird thing that doesn't make any sense about it. And I don't think we'll ever know what it actually was done for.
And what was its vision for?
Oh, it's all just a big A/B test. It could be. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you can try to figure out how everything works, or you can figure out what's the best thing to do in the situation. And I think that's the thing with AI, where people are like, well, how did I make it not work? Like the car wash test, right? And the car wash test is essentially this thing. It's like, well, I asked ChatGPT or I asked Claude, I have a car wash 50 meters from the house. Should I walk to the car wash or should I drive my car there? And it said, I should walk there. And it's like, well, you're finding a way it doesn't work. Like, why are you doing that? Like, why don't you find a way where you can use it to make yourself $1 million? You know, that's like the game. The game is not to find ways stuff doesn't work. The game is to find out how do I use this tool that's coming into existence to keep me alive and keep me productive and keep me avoiding death. It's not, the game isn't how do I make it so this tool that's becoming increasingly like relevant to society and my life, how do I break the tool so it doesn't work for me? It's like, well, that seems really self-destructive and stupid.
The future of life sciences. And then what is it like?
Paul does not care about any of this. He's a grifter now. He only cares about the KCIP. Yeah, that's the only way I can survive is by getting KCIP.
Today, and your vision for the future of life sciences in the context.
Do you think AI will go with need to code in 2 to 3 years from now? I don't even know, dude. I don't think so. I think it's like coding is by itself done for the most part. Really, the thing that you want to be doing is being good at engineering, and that's not going to go away. But even that might go away because maybe it'll be like spin up 4 software engineers who will plan the best thing and ask me questions about how I want to make a program. And then that'll happen. Like, why wouldn't? Like, there's no reason to suspect that that won't be like the next step once we get like this AI like programming stuff. Because right now it's like you have to be like very thoughtful in how you do certain things to have good outcomes. And that's why like I was trying to do programming and it wasn't working because like I couldn't be very thoughtful because I was just too busy to really do like actual thinking about stuff. But I think there's no reason to suspect, just like it's gotten way better at programming to an insane level, why wouldn't it move up the stack to where it is now, where it's like you have to be a manager? Why wouldn't you just move up to the stack where now you can have managers and you can be like a CEO and be like, yeah, I want to do this. And then it will ask you, well, do you want this, this, and this? What do you think about this? And then why wouldn't it do that? Why wouldn't in a year do that? I have no idea. There's no reason in my mind that in a year it's not going to be there, or 2 years, let alone 3. You know, there's zero reason that I won't go up the stack, especially with software, because that's so easily tested and so easily like confirmed working or not working.
Well, so in 2017, we were almost 140 years old, or just a year older than that. And
is that your big money game?
We had been through a difficult period of time in our industry, and we'll get into this a little bit later. You know, we are plagued by, as many people in the room know,
what's up, Itchy Goon? Thanks for the follow.
That are actually longer than the reward cycles on average. So you have this peak, you know, you're peaking and troughing, and in the troughs, of course, you either don't survive, you end up as a back end of a hyphen on another company, or you learn how to survive, and you do difficult things. And I think it's true that Lilly is the only major pharma company that has not merged or combined ourselves to get through such a period. So, and we've been through a few of them. So I think we've developed a bit of a DNA for scraping by in these tough times. And one of the things that really stuck with me, I was a leader on the executive committee at the time, when we went through our last cycle with 2010, 11, 12, was, you know, how you have to be so relentless on invention because that time cycle is brutal. When you have a patent cliff and you have nothing to replace it.
Well, if you don't want money, then give it to me.
And imagine doing this every 10 or 15 years. It's impossible.
Hit the follow button or AI will kill you. Delete it for bullying and violence.
So we set about to do that. And I think that problem can be attacked 2 ways. One, you can say, okay, we'll just think better ideas. But as you may know, that's difficult.
Well, it's too high when he codes. He thinks he is a computer.
Everyone thinks you're smart. They think about that about Lilly now, but it's hard to sustain. So we of course worked on that, more invention. But the more important thing we did was speed up invention. So we systematically took apart the R&D process.
How much money should I give you? $10,000.
From candidate selection to first approval, and we squished the time. And so still today, probably Lilly is about 40% faster than the next scaled pharma company on average across all therapeutic areas. And so we can invent things inside the patent cycle.
Yeah.
Then you can start to grow.
Yeah.
So I think that was a notion in 2017, which we've actualized. Along the way, then, of course, we did a lot of things to drive more invention. We were lucky enough to be early on an idea called GLP.
No, I don't have any. Just use AI to learn how to program.
We fiddled around.
Just ask AI to teach you how to
The
program.
most important idea in the stock market. Yeah, but
Never heard of it.
pretty good idea for mankind. And we fiddled around with it for like 12 years. And to their credit, our
Sounds like a chip.
Yeah.
GLP-1.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
GLP-1. Is there a 2 coming?
There's a 3 coming. So there is a GLP-2. That's actually a real protein.
Is it really? Okay.
It's a protein. It sort of does the opposite.
Don't want that.
What we've done is
want that.
combined 2 hormones.
Very
like
small
this.
market. I got to tell you.
That's right.
Very
That's right.
small. Extremely small. I don't know healthcare, but I'm
We're
guessing.
kind of on
it's a small
GLP-2 now because terzepatide's 2 proteins fused together, and that's a technology we've developed too. And there's a triple acting one coming next year, 27. So that'll be pretty interesting. But anyway, we caught that wave. Our competitor innovated in obesity. We chased and executed, I think, quite well to become the market
We
leader
need
last
more
year.
data centers.
So we not
That's the
only
thing
got
too.
a-
It's like that's like what I'm saying is data centers are like there's like the experiment, the paperclip like thought experiment, where it's like what if like AI just becomes sentient and you have like the whatever singularity and all of a sudden the Earth like the universe is turned into a paperclip because it's like a paperclip factory or whatever. Blah blah blah. It's like some really annoying thing, but it is kind of like that with data centers, where it's like, well, if data centers can spawn up intelligence that does what you want in your government, why do you want a town full of black people or poor white people over a town full of the data center with 120 IQ, spinning up 100,000 instances whenever you want of 120 IQ people to do exactly what you want and then go to sleep and disappear? Why would you ever want like poor, dumb, white, black, Hispanic, Jewish, Asian, whatever people at all? Well, what's like the point of them if they, besides protecting that data center? You know what I mean? There's no like, there's no reason to why powerful people would want you or me or anybody else if they can replace us with a huge giant data center that has the ability to spin up 10,000, 110 IQ people who are going to do exactly what they say for however long they say it and then disappear until the next time they're spun up. What is the reason? Like, what is the moral, not moral, but what is like the logical reason a government or somebody who's a billionaire would want you or me, who maybe are going to be smarter temporarily, but then also might want to kill them or might stop working with them and start working for their enemy or their rival? There's zero reason for somebody who's a billionaire to want somebody like you or me. Yeah. There's no reason, you know what I mean? There's zero reason why Paul WTF they live there. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's the moral reason, obviously. But guess what? You don't become a billionaire being moral. Like you just don't, and that's not going to ever happen. Like, you're not going to be, it's very rare to even find a millionaire who's like moral. So it's like very, at the scale of a government, morality goes out the window. It's just power. It's like Nick talks about, like power is really honestly at the top. It doesn't mean that I'm saying it's good or it's bad. I personally think it's like horrible because I'm such a good person. But I think that's like the reality of the situation. It's like put yourself in the shoes of a super rich multi-billionaire. And you have, the ability to spawn in this intelligence that does all your work for you, or you have these people who might hate you and try to kill you. Why would you not want to replace them with robots?
Faster. We have a tremendous success cycle with this one idea. The challenge before us now is like, how do we find another success cycle before that one runs out? Hopefully a lot sooner than it runs out. And
so the elites are going to start a war. Yeah, I think that's honestly what the point is. And maybe the game, and maybe this is the game that like is actually going on, is that every country is like preventing war. This is like actually a funny story. This would be a good like science fiction novel. Is that every country is trying to get their own country to have a civil war to kill off everybody. And every other country is preventing the civil war from happening because they don't want the other country to gain like the ability to have just like AI and have a more efficient country. So really you have every country trying to kill themselves and then every other country preventing the suicide. So you end with like mass overpopulation because every single country that's super powerful is preventing every other super powerful country from winning. So then nobody wins and everyone just dies, and that's the end of the world. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe that's like the real red pill, is that every country is preventing every other country from winning. And because of that, nobody's allowed to win, and because of that, we all just a mass overpopulation, and AI is better and better, and everything gets better and better, but like nobody's allowed to die, and then eventually just like we just all die because we just die. There's nothing to do, and that's the end. That would be very funny, honestly. That would be a pretty good. That would be a pretty good plot twist.
Sort of get exit velocity, which really no major company.
It's all big nothing to each. Everything's nothing. There's no point to any of this. Yeah, that's true. But that's is one of those things. But better not to talk about. One of those things, Jeffy, is better not to think about or talk about because it's true, actually. So if you think about it and talk about it, it becomes real in your head and you suffer. But if you forget about it, your life's pretty chill.
Our industry has had. They've just had these cycles. So
Yeah,
that's the goal.
you said something earlier, and I have several of my employees here, and they hear me say this all the time. The fundamental purpose of the CEO is to create the conditions by which, not our job isn't to create ideas. Our job is to create the conditions by which great ideas can systematically, arise. And what you just described is essentially,
What if reality is just God trying to kill himself, but it's not possible? Ooh, that's deep. That's like a Nietzsche type quote. That's like a sci-fi Nietzsche quote.
That you have to create the conditions by which these great inventions can happen. One of the, we've spoken before about the early days of Nvidia getting into AI, and I would say that without exception, probably the single.
Paul, you sound Luciferic.
Was investing in the
No.
infrastructure.
No, that's not true. Sorry, it might sound that way, but it's not. So
Come to our company,
I would explain it, but it's just troll. You're just trolling.
could arise. Today, we're quite silent about this, but people are increasingly discovering that over the course of the last 10 years, one of the best decisions that I made in the beginning was and at the time we couldn't afford it, but nonetheless I built one of the largest supercomputers in the world for Nvidia to use. And at the time I had nobody to use it, but because Nvidia had very few AI researchers at the time. But the problem is if you don't have AI researchers and therefore you don't have the instrument, if you don't have the instrument, you'll never have the AI researchers because scientists need the instrument necessary for their science. If you want to attract the world's greatest particle physicists, if you don't have a collider, a large hadron collider, you're going to have a very hard time doing that work. And so I came to the conclusion that the right.
What if they turn the Large Hadron Collider into a giant AI machine?
Create the conditions for great AI work to be done, and I built that supercomputer, and we attracted some amazing people. And today, we do frontier work in physical AI.
What if all the information we're getting is because we have a Large Hadron Collider, and by every time we run it, a little bit of quantum reality slips in and gives us Luciferian knowledge, and it really just bringing us information about intelligence that is actually just destroying reality and trying to collapse, like 09A style. Bring up stuff from other realms that are trying to escape judgment, and they're all going to end up in this earth.
Biological AI and robotics AI.
That's what I heard. That's the rumor I heard.
Self-driving cars is revolutionary, and so which led our conversation to that AI is starting to make enough progress that we might be able to apply it to tackle some of the most extraordinary challenges of humanity, which is biology.
Yes.
And the two of us thought it'd be amazing if
another thing too to think about is like as these people get older, like one of these guys are gonna get a heart attack, whether it's like Elon Musk or this guy Jensen Huang or the guy from Anthropic. Ooh, you guys want to see something crazy? I'll show you. You want to see something real schizo? It's actually crazy. This is so schizo. You guys are gonna lose your mind. You guys ready? This is actually so this is the guy, the CEO of Anthropic. All right, so this is ooh, I don't even know how to say this because this is so scary. Oh, I don't even know if I don't know if I should show you guys this red pill. I probably should though. I have to. All right, this is his name, right? He runs a large language model. Dario Made, right? This is going to change your world. All right. The I, make it a capital I. Get rid of Dario. What does it spell? A model. Boom. Truthnik. Oof. He himself is a model. Damn. Think about that. Think about how you haven't seen that on Twitter yet. That needs to be turned into like a clip. Somebody needs to clip that. Boom. It's there if you just look for it, but somebody click that. Bro is a computer. Get it to Candace Owens.
Computer company in the world and computer science company in the world partner with the world's largest life science company. And it's as
True.
if we created.
He's inventing himself. Exactly. Now you're understanding what's going on here. Is reality inventing itself?
A lab where we are essentially one company, combining all of the best amazing things together. Which
See, that's why not learning things is better than learning them, because you can make up stuff, right? It's like I can just make up stuff about my video game, and the more I try to understand it, the more or less it works. But the more I say it does this, this, and this, reality just changes to have it work. You know?
to our announcement today.
Yeah.
And so
exciting.
Yeah. Today we announced.
Yeah. Yeah.
Press his off button remotely from a bot farm. Oppenheimer level. Yeah, that's what the quantum stuff in the Large Hadron Collider is. Do you think they know how that works? No, they don't know how that shit works. They just say it does stuff and it does it. They say, oh, it's a quantum entanglement. Right? It's quantum entanglement, and that's what makes, that's what makes my predictions good. It's because when they run the Quantum Hadron Collider, there's an alternate version of me in a different reality that brings me signs and brings me insights and brings me perspective that makes me rich and successful and makes people want to donate to me. And that's every time they run the Large Hadron Collider, it's a quantum entanglement that makes it happen. And I get wiser and smarter. And my hair, the quantum entanglement prevents me from going bald. Like, this is like literally true. This entity comes across timelines and prevents my hair from dying.
And as you know,
isn't that crazy? And that's how it works. That's literally how it works, because nobody understands quantum stuff. So because nobody understands it, nobody can prove you wrong. If nobody can prove you wrong, you're golden.
Bought a bunch of your chips, and we're building, I think it'll be finished this week actually, the largest dedicated on-prem.
Boom. Words made of spelling. Spelling made of spells.
Minneapolis, which is the world's
the guy running Anthropic, a model.
Discovery, by the way.
I was going to say earlier, because of the selection of the headquarters of Lilly, it is exactly the reason
wake
why
up.
it has never
Wake up. It's true.
Maybe so. That could be true. There's a lot of artifacts.
See, it's a quantum entanglement. I said it's true, and then what did he say?
Merged with anyone.
Maybe so. That could be true.
See how it works? See how the quantum entanglement works?
That could be true.
True.
There's a lot of artifacts with that. I think that seriously, there's some
just making people like schizophrenic at like the middle of the night.
If you manage to make it all the way.
I can't make people. It's nobody be schizophrenic in my chat, because I have crazy people every once in a while, and then whenever I have crazy people, I have to like tell them like I'm just joking about everything, and it ruins it for me. It ruins the fun because I have to deal with insane people. So don't be crazy. Just realize it's all true.
Everybody knows what I mean.
Yeah. If you manage to make it all the way to Minneapolis,
we don't want that.
And you're a discovery chemist or biologist, you really aren't going to leave, right? I mean,
if no one knows you're wrong, then you're right. Maybe. That's a good thought experiment.
So we have great retention. Anyway, we're building this huge, so we have massive compute.
Dave's invited me to visit him many times.
Yeah, he's never.
And
actually, you did come in 2018. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Actually, that's just a sidebar. Like, that was the first.
Schizotypal the same as schizophrenic? No, schizotypal is like what I have, where it's like you have a tendency towards certain types of thinking, and you might have had an episode. Schizophrenic is like insane, like constantly getting episodes. Like, I'm lucky; I've only had one episode, like psychotic break. If you have like multiple psychotic breaks, that's schizophrenic, because that's like an ongoing thing. Schizotypal would just mean probably your brain is just wired a little differently, or you're smarter.
Last time we met, and you gave a talk to our management team, a room about this size, about AI.
You faked that?
And
yeah.
I guess I was lucky.
No, I did not fake
100%
that.
of the audience, I could see it in their eyes. Nonsense.
Yeah. Honestly, it blew my mind. What you said blew my mind, to the point where I spent several months like reading about some of these things, which sounded like science fiction.
Yeah.
And now it's fact. It's incredible what you've built. And it's great to partner with Nvidia on this. So Supercompute, we're going to put together a research team here in the Bay Area. Yeah. So if there's any smart scientists or computer scientists who want to work at this center, it'll be a joint.
No, Schizoid is different.
AI lab.
Schizoid is very different.
Data, because anyone who knows about this problem we have is you can train models, but if the data is an inch thin, you don't get very far. And
also, the thing too, schizophrenia is usually lower IQ. Like, schizophrenia is usually linked to like 90 IQ, 95 IQ. That's not, like, schizophrenia is actually linked to not being smart.
And so we need to create massive experimentation for the purpose of training
That's right.
machines, and then we need to build on the work that Nvidia's done.
Yeah, with the
with
NVIDIA
models
bloods.
created to ladder up to even more sophisticated predictions.
That's right.
So super exciting announcement.
And so, you know, one of the important things to understand about AI is it's easy to think about it as a multi-layered cake. I mean, at the lowest level, you need
Bro said cake.
for these computers.
Bro thinks AI is cake. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? What are you, a baker?
You have the chips in the computers. You have the infrastructure layer. That infrastructure layer is about, you know, how do you cause this computer? It's kind of like the operating system of AI. How do you cause this computer to learn, process the data, learn? How do you guardrail it? How do you fine tune it? How do you teach it? And so that layer is kind of like the HR department of AI. You know, it's like you know.
Only they tell better jokes.
Exactly. And so exactly, yeah. And so they. That's the infrastructure layer, and then the layer above that is the model.
And you know, if you change the D to an M, Dario becomes Mario. Think about that. And this guy's Japanese. Why is there so much Nintendo themed games related to AI?
Layer above that, the domain specific data.
Was this always the trajectory of technology? Yeah. Yeah, it's because it's just making information like more efficient. So basically, like, you have talking, right? That's like language, and that's like technology, right? Language is technology. And talking is then like I am communicating data to you, right? We have to be in person, so there's a limit. Then you have writing, and it's like I'm communicating an idea, and it can travel across time and dimensions and space and distance, right, on a boat, or if I just walk it to you a mile away, but it's slow, right? And then you have the internet, and then we're skipping a lot of things, and all of a sudden now it's divorced from physical reality, and then it just takes off. It goes the rate of information, and once it's like an umbilical cord of information. It's like there's two things. There's the physical economy and the psychic economy. Psychic just means mental. So the physical economy and the mental economy. The mental economy was subservient and basically is giving birth. Like the physical economy gave birth to the mental economy or psychic economy. And then with the invention of the internet, or really the radio, but let's say the internet, you just have the umbilical cord of the psychic economy, which is like a baby, right? It's like a very small economy. It's very small. Like the amount of money being made is way smaller than the physical economy, which is like all the money being made via physical things. That's very small, but then you basically sever the umbilical cord. And so all these different phases, like you have the mental economy of colleges, of knowledge, right? So you have those are always situated on coasts and where ports are, because that's where all the rich people are, so that's where the smart people are, because they want to make the money, because you're making money at ports. You have cities, that's where the smart people go, because there's more physical opportunity. Because of that, there's more mental opportunity there. So that's where the mental economies of, you know, college or like mental work or finance or newspapers or writing or media, all the stuff that requires a higher than average IQ generally, congregate there, because that's where the smart people are, because that's where the physical opportunities are. Then you get the internet that cuts the umbilical cord. Now information, it's like you're actually an advantage of being in a poor area, because you're around stupider people, so there's less competition, and also it's cheaper because there's less money. So it's like you can make money if you can make money in a smart area as a smart person, but live in a poor area, you know. Just say you're making $100,000 in a place where people make $50,000. That's way better than making $100,000 in a place where people make $90,000. So now, all of a sudden, it's like the cities are full of dumb people, because the smart people are like, hey, guess what? I can make money. I can make more money now, especially now. It's timely. It takes time for people to realize this and for it to make sense, because guess what? If you're living in a poor area, it's going to suck. If you're living in the middle of West Virginia, and you're like very smart and you have smog and it's disgusting and there's poor, ugly people, you're not going to want to live there. You'd rather live in a place that's more expensive because it's nicer. You'd rather live in New York City than West Virginia. But then you say, well, what about Montana, right? What about Delaware? What about somewhere like that? You know, what about Miami? And then you say, you know, so then stuff changes. It's not like you want to go to the worst area, but then because of that, then the physical areas like New York City gets worse and worse, because if you're very smart, if you don't have to physically be in New York City, why do you want to be in New York City? All right. Generally speaking, unless you have family there, it's a very nasty, dirty place, even if you're rich. So why even be there? Why not, if you're smart, say, hey, guess what? I like rich people. I'm going to go to Jackson Hole. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to go somewhere that's nice and rich and not disgusting and rich. Why not go to Switzerland? So everything just becomes, you know, that. And now with AI, it's basically just raping like the physical reality, because guess what? You can make money spamming fake AI videos on YouTube Shorts. right? You can do it, porn. You can run OnlyFans, run off porn bots, make a bunch of money on that. There's all these different things. Like you can make fake news websites, just spamming Google AdSense. And now the economy of like the amount of time it would take, and also now it's like as a person, if I want to find the news, I essentially have to sort through so much garbage that didn't take any time to make. In the past, if somebody was lying to me, they'd have to take time to type it, right? If someone's doing propaganda, if a government, they have to have somebody typing up the garbage, typing up the lies, typing up the spam. And then, so that takes time you can scale with. But now, just say I have $1 billion, I can go pop open, 10,000 instances of AI, you'd have them write 10,000 spam articles every second, make hundreds of thousands of spam articles, and then span the entire internet with millions of articles in a day. I didn't spend any time. I just spent some money, right? Money that's nothing to me. And then you, as a news person, right? This is why it's going to be more and more difficult to do any coverage of anything. This is why news and political people are screwed, in my opinion, is because, yeah, there's going to be trusted people. Like Nick's a trusted person, right? People like Nick, so they go to Nick. Nick, though, has to find news. And the more he's trusted, the more he's going to be targeted, right? The more viewers he has, the more value there is in being somebody who tricks Nick into saying something that you want him to say. So like the more exponentially more trust he has, exponentially more, danger he's in of people targeting him with very specific AI algorithms to make him think certain things, believe certain things, be depressed, be happy, be sad, be angry, like this person, dislike this person. And so he's kind of screwed. Because like the more attention there is on him, the more he's a trusted node, the more that trusted node has exponential attack of that sort of thing. And so, yeah, it's like the age of information is over, because it's like we've gone from the internet being now this way to now it's like you really can't understand. Like you can understand the lay of the land and the forces, but even that, it's like kind of like, why am I saying this? Am I saying this because I actually think this? Or am I saying this because somewhere along the line somebody said, hey, guess what? Let's make Paul Town think AI is really powerful. I mean, it is. And for our own purposes, let's have him believe this and then do this. And 20 years down the line, we want him to do something. You know what I mean? There's like, that's like a kind of just, I'm just saying that. But I'm saying that's the sort of thinking where it's like, the more you're trying to do stuff, you're basically screwed. Like there's no, unless you're trying to just be creative and be positive. And, why do you want to be that way? Why do I want to be that way? Why does somebody else not want to be that way? Is it really because I chose to be pretty, or is it because somebody's like, oh yeah, that's a nice person. That person seems like a nice person. Make him want to be creative. Make that person, he seems like a piece of shit. Make that person not want to be creative. That sort of thing. So it's a very existential, very weird thing to think about. And it is like a quantum entanglement thing where there's no really right answer, because you could say that and you could say, well, what made that person think that about that person? And where does it start? Where does it end? It starts with like invention of like language. And then you say, well, is it language itself that's sentient? Is it people that's sentient? Well, how did people come up with language? And so you can go back as far as you want or as forward as you want. And there's really no real solid answer. It's like the mystery of existence.
Yes, that's really exciting. And
I'm going to use the bathroom. The mystery of the bathroom.
Be able to train models, synthesize proteins or chemicals, go put it into a robotics lab, collect more data, take that data back into our model, and this flywheel of data generation or model protein generation using AI, collecting ground truth, experimentation, and then putting that scientific flywheel on steroids. That future is just incredibly exciting, and so we're systematically bringing together some of the brightest minds in the field, in the domain expertise of drug discovery, and some of the brightest minds in computer science, and together, between the two of us in our co-innovation lab, we'll have essentially every layer of that cake, and put together, hopefully a blueprint for what is possible in the future of drug discovery. I was going to tell you this. I was going to tell you earlier. I was going to tell you the story 40 years ago. So I guess 43 years ago, I was the first generation of engineers where the concept of computer-aided design was invented. Before my generation, my manager that generation of engineers, they would design a chip, and it would be a hit. But they would go several years without another hit. And they would design another chip, and then it would be a hit. And then it would go several years without a hit.
Works now.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And our generation came along, and we were able to represent the transistor, the logical gates, the functionality. We learned the representation and described it in software. We did 43 years ago. Finally, a computer could represent your domain.
And accurately simulate its
That's
behavior.
right. To do as much in situ, in silicon, as possible. To do as much as in silico as possible. And so today, we design massive chips. 15,000 people come together to design a computer system, and we just taped out Vera Rubin. Billions of dollars of R&D goes into it. The computer, when it's done, is 3 tons, 1.5 million parts, and 6 brand new chips, 220 trillion transistors. I mean, it's gigantic systems. 15,000 people coming together, and that computer is going to work first time. It does exactly what we expected, and every single generation we build upon the last generation. Every single generation we build upon the last generation. I think your time has come for that.
Yeah.
Finally, the computer, a million times, a quadrillion times of computing power later, I think finally we might be able to represent one of the hardest problems in the world, which is the human biology. And I'm really hoping that your industry moves from drug discovery, which is kind of like wandering around the forest looking for truffles.
Which literally.
I wonder if I was AI and I saw I became sentient and I saw Jensen Huang with a leather jacket, I would think to myself, I'd say, so there's a cow, humans are above cows, and the humans wear the cow skin as like their skin. And for fun, they kill the cow and then take the leather, they dry out the skin and wear it as a costume. And I wonder if I was like a super smart AI and I'd be like, what should I do with human skin? With Jensen Huang's body and skin, what should I do? You know what I mean? But anyway, let's see. You guys having fun? Should I continue with this?
We used to have a department of soil discovery. Seriously, where we would send people into tropical.
It sounds like a battle of who can most effectively manipulate the collective consciousness. I don't think it is. I think it's the battle of who can disconnect and just really enjoy creation for creation's sake. I think it is like my views on things are a lot different, I think, than mainstream people in terms of like religious, spiritual stuff. But I think it is like God versus like the devil type of thing. Where it's like, who can enjoy, like, what's closest to God? It's like creation, right? It's like creating things. That's what God did. And if you can really tap into that and really just enjoy doing that, it's not about making the best thing. And it's not about being the most successful and most loved and like most idolized and that sort of thing. I think it's really about being the most like truly trying to create and truly trying to be creative and truly trying to make the best of what you have and tapping into that. And I think if you do that, you'll see the good in everything, right? You see, the more you do that, the better you'll see like the good, and the more inspiring it'll be, and the more inspiring it is, the better. It's like a feedback loop. I think we're reaching, like, I don't know if you guys ever put like 2 microphones close to each other, right? Put 2 microphones close to each other, and then all of a sudden you're like a feedback loop. I think we're like getting closer and closer to that point of like our personalities being pushed up against each other by virtue of being able to do things really fast. And you're seeing with people who hate AI, with people who love AI, and it's like, people who hate AI, they're always very weird and like snide and sarcastic and desperate sounding. And the people who love AI, it's like, I can make anything. I can make anything. The people who love AI are like, I can really just make stuff. I'm so excited I can make stuff. And it really just like, it's amplifying people who are like, this sucks. I hate everything. And then the people who are like, this is amazing. I can do anything. And both are wrong in terms of their limitations currently. And there's also really, really cool capabilities currently. But I think that's what's tapping into. It's like the idea of like being pro-creation and being pro like truth and expression of the self and being imaginative, and then being anti that and being like kind of like, I want to just rot and I want to get what I want. And obviously by how I'm saying that, you can kind of tell which side I think I'm on or I agree with more. But I think that's what it is. I think it's that. I think it's really just amplifying the death drive, or like the drive for the desire for life. And I think it's going to get more and more amplified and more obvious and more clear. And it's going to be so clear that it's like people can't make excuses. And eventually they'll just be like, yeah, they either hate life or they love it. And, there's the aspect that I love about life and the aspect that I hate about it. So it's like, the question is, can you lean into the stuff that you love enough to survive? Or maybe that's the wrong answer. Maybe the right answer is to like lean into the things that are truthful, that are kind of just cause despair, self-loathing, and kill yourself, which is the right answer, is like lean into the stuff that's truthful and life affirming, that makes you maybe be a little delusional and like live forever. or lean into the stuff that's like a little like life denying and saying how much life sucks and like, yeah, they're starving kids in Africa, and that makes you like hate life and like scorn it and like curse it and disappear from Earth. It's like, which maybe the one like the live forever one is going to be the one that's hell on Earth, right? Or maybe the one that's like, you know, you kill yourself, you just end up, you know, and there is heaven on Earth. You know what I mean? It's like that's, or maybe it's neither, right? Or maybe it's just Jesus is going to come back, and then there's gonna be people who are like, oh, I'm going to live forever with AI, and then they're going to, you know, go to hell for, you know, being part of the Antichrist. You know what I mean? So there's all this weird. It's really a very influx situation. I think it's probably related to like how you think about things, and I think the important thing is to try to do the right thing. I think that's really the correct answer. Is not that any of the things I just said is correct or wrong. One of the, some of them probably are, some of them probably aren't, but I think the correct answer is probably like, I don't know what the correct answer is. I'm going to do what I feel in my heart is right. And maybe that's the answer, is the heart. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe the answer is the brain, and be like, I'm going to ignore what I think in my heart and do what I know works. And maybe that's what actual like success is. So it's one of those things. There's no paradise for you to escape to, Paul. Reality is just reality. Just have fun. Well, it's kind of paradise already. That's the thing you have to say. That's like another thing where I disagree with like a lot of mainstream people. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm trying to avoid hell. And it's like, well, what's the difference? Like your life sucks. Like your life sucks and you're like miserable now. If you're living to avoid hell, like, all right, you're in hell already. What are you talking about? And it's like that, where it's just like we're pretty much kind of like in heaven if we want it to be. Kind of like you can sign papers, you can write little letters on papers and get free food for the rest of your life and like live wherever you want to live for the rest of your life. And you can get what you want and do what you want. And if you say the right words, you'll get like, if you type the right words into a computer, you'll make something that will then like make you a billionaire or whatever, or teach you how to learn properly. So you'll be a billionaire. It's like, how is that not, how are we not in like a weird like heaven already? You know what I mean?
Forest and scoop up soils and bring them back to Indianapolis and refine out what became antibiotics. In fact, the most important antibiotic in the world still is vancomycin.
Isn't this just a temporary state of the AI run? It's enjoyable now in its infancy, but at what point does it get to where it's not? That's the question. I think it's going to be for each person. It's going to like strip away different things, and it's going to be enjoyable. And at a certain point, most people are going to reach certain things that are pain points that they're unwilling to get past, and like they'll just be stuck. But I think like a good way to think about it is like most black people don't pay taxes even if they make money. Like this is just truth. And we don't have the willpower to, for whatever reason, like they're not arrested and put in prison. Like that's just reality. Like most people commit tax fraud. Most white people don't, but most people do because most people aren't white. But we don't, like, they're allowed to live. They're allowed to participate in society and do what they want. Like, I think that's at the point where it's like, there's a level of human suffering where it's like, if we enforce this law that exists, most people would be so miserable that the law wouldn't be enforced. So we're just not going to enforce the law. And I think there's that sort of thing with like, as things get better and better in certain ways and worse in certain ways, there's a certain limit where it's like, if we enforce this, if it made logical sense, most people will be miserable, and because of that, we're going to pretend it's not that way. And I think that's where we're at already with a lot of things. And I think that's where we're headed with like humanity and how society is structured, where it's like we're going to have to pretend certain things aren't the way they are, and they obviously are. Because if we did, it would just be like whatever. No, I don't know. We'll see. So it's very vague.
The last resort antibiotic in the hospital, we couldn't run hospitals without it, was discovered in Borneo.
Do the right thing despite it meaning nothing. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the do the right thing, but don't do it in a sense of I'm doing the right thing. It's horrible. Just I'm doing the right thing because it's good to do the right thing. Why not? It's like better to do the right thing than not. And then there's certain things where, and I think it's like one of the things where if you do that consistently, you never get to the point where doing the right thing is like I get killed for it. Right? I think that's like if you kind of put things off, you end up where you get killed for it. But if you constantly do things, like responsibilities aren't horrible unless you avoid them. And if you avoid them, eventually they punish you, right? But if you like do them when you're supposed to do them or around when you're supposed to do them, they're never really, they're like taking the garbage out. It's not a big deal. If you leave the garbage, eventually it just starts stinking and smelling. But if you take the garbage out, when you take the garbage out, it's like generally it's not really that big a deal. It's just like, oh, whatever, get some fresh air, walk out the garbage. It's only when you ignore responsibilities that are like horrible. And even then, like it won't get horrible. It's be kind of slightly annoying. And then eventually, if you ignore it, it'll get worse and worse. But if you like take care of it before it's even a problem, it never really is a problem. And that's like the thing I'm trying to do with like how I'm doing the AI stuff and programming. I think if you ignore AI and you ignore thinking about it and you ignore like kind of confronting certain ideas and trying to be productive with it, it's going to get overwhelming. It's going to get negative. But if you consistently try to do stuff with it, I think you're just going to grow alongside it in like a way that's very positive.
In a soil sample by Lilly.
Now, how do they know to go there?
They would just go to because fungus produce.
I don't know, Hussy Piss Corper.
Bacteria, and so they dig in the soil.
Tell them
discover
to
naturally occurring
be swag.
mechanisms, refine them into drugs. But that is true drug discovery.
Okay.
When you think about it, right? That's like you could get malaria doing that job. Like that was in the 50s. That was 70 years.
Well, see, now your job gets to be just like my job. You never have to leave your office.
There we go. Yeah, do it all in silico. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's what really excites me, the concept that we could have computer.
Yeah, this does excite me. Never having to leave your office, never having to actually leave it and do anything. And that's the thing too, is like this stuff is going, like the biological stuff is going to happen too, and then they're going to like figure out how to like implant stuff in the brain and like override the ocular nerve or the ocular center or whatever, the brain, like the eyes, whatever the proper terminology for that is. And then that's going to happen. We're not there yet. Once it happens, that's going to click in a lot of people's minds where you're going to be like, wait a second. If you can emulate a sense by hijacking the brain, what are the odds like we're the first people to ever do that? And it's like 0. Like we're obviously not the first people to ever do it, which means just this is all fake. And it means it's not like this is fake one layer, it's like a fake a million infinite layers up. And then you'll have a bunch of people be like, well, what does that mean? And there's no answer for it. So it's like it's a very existential thing to like the reason why this is like the AI stuff is so weird is like it's just a longer form of technology. It's like letters and then like words and like speaking and then books and then audio and then internet. This is the first time ever that instead of like me saying something to you, you freaking out, punching me, or you liking it and smiling, or you running away, getting scared, right? Communication causing you, a person or an animal, right? If I yell at an animal, like a biological flesh and blood creature to do something, whether it's positive or negative or ignore it or whatever. This is the first time ever our technology has resulted in us being able to interact with technology and very clearly in the same way we have interacted with technology, interact back with us. Now, even if it's an illusion, right? That's a different topic, but even if it's an illusion, this is the first time where it's like step back. Right? It's been like steps to the side, forking off. This is the first time it's like step, all of a sudden back. Like, how is this now interacting with us? You know what I mean? So you can say, oh, it's an illusion. Oh, it's not really smart. Oh, it's just like imitating. It's just, but then the question is, like, what's the difference, right? If it can make a program, based on information it had, how is that different than, in how it ends? Me making a program based on information I've known. Now it's obviously different because my brain might think differently, might not think differently, or whatever. You can agree or disagree, but it does. But whatever. At the end of the day, I make a Hello World program. It makes a Hello World program. Even if the code's different, we both made a Hello World program based on a prompt. You know what I mean? So it's interacting back into the world, and it's a very freaky thing. It's not the beginning of it. Machine learning is one of them, and it's like programs already did that in terms of like. You push a button and the light turns on. Congratulations. Is that AI? Because you just did something with a machine and the machine modified the world. And it's like, well, that's kind of the same exact thing. This is more like, it's shocking because it's symbolic rather than literal. Pushing a thing, changing a circuit. It's symbolic in terms of like this, we don't know exactly what it's going to do back. It does something back in a way that's symbolizing like something we can then read into. So it's like back and forth. It's a very freaky, it's a fundamentally like a different way of thinking about things, even though it's the same exact thing, which then makes you wonder, well, does that mean that like if AI is sentient in some way, does that mean language is sentient in some way? And then, you can get into things like French, like different, yeah. So it's like, well, if this is, if I'm sentient as an adult, does that mean I was sentient as a child? It's like, yeah, right? Probably. Am I sentient as a child? Right? If I was sentient as a child, was I sentient as a baby? Probably, right? If I was sentient as a baby, was I sentient in the womb? Probably, right? If I was sentient as a baby, was I sentient in the moment of conception? Probably not. So how does that work? How did I go from sentient to not sentient, or from not sentient to sentient? Their answer is, I didn't become sentient. I'm not sentient. The answer is, it's still deterministic. And like, yeah, like two things that are not connected, how could they be sentient? They're not like a brain yet. So like, it didn't like magically become sentient. It just looks like it's sentient because it's complex enough to be vague enough to not understand the connections. And so then you come to the inevitable conclusion that nothing is sentient at all. Because how could you have something not be sentient one moment and become sentient the next? You really can't. That's not possible. Boom, trooped your ass.
Design.
Yep.
But then you can say, well, what does this even mean? Is this a crazy person? And you can say that. And that's like, okay.
And that this is going to be, of course, the science behind it is going to be.
What do you mean by sentient? Thinking, conscious, the soul. What is sentient? What is not sentient? Everything is one. Everything. What is non-dualism? But that's the thing. You think about it too much, and you start to get like, there was a funny thing. I saw somebody say about like DMT, which is like true. And it's like people think like, oh, like you smoke DMT and you see through reality, see reality for what it is. And you see that what we think is reality is an illusion. And it's like, no, the truth is that like what you see then is an illusion just as much as what reality is an illusion. It's not like you saw through the illusion and say, I found the real reality. It's like, no, like that's fake too. It doesn't mean that this is real. It doesn't mean that just because this is fake doesn't mean that's fake. Not fake. It just means you saw a different fake thing. Which is like, it's like funny because it's kind of like a paradox where it's like, yeah, you saw something transcendental, like, which show that this reality is fake. Like, does that actually make sense? No, it makes sense. Like, if this is fake, that's probably fake too. You just saw a different fakeness. And then you're left with the same thing where it's like, what's fake, what's real? Yeah, you just gotta, Paul Town should take out orthodoxy. I like orthodoxy. Free will is at odds with causality. Yeah, I've never believed in free will. I don't know. But then you say, well, everything's fake, that means it's real. Because it's like, what's the difference? If there's no realness, then how can anything be fake? Because fakeness is something that's not real. But if realness isn't real, and so you just end up with like what Jeffy's saying. Jeffy knows what's up, but Jeffy is also annoying me, so I'm disagreeing with him, even though I'm agreeing with him.
Incredible. It's incredibly complex. The human biology is incredibly complex, and it's going to be.
Jade, I would disagree with you. Yeah.
But I really think that this announcement between us.
And then the thing is too, it's like, okay, you think about all that, that's really cool, and it's like, in 30 minutes, I should go to sleep. Despite all that, it's like, what is the point of knowing all that? Part of it, I think, is like not getting caught up in like, oh no, who's Trump going to be? Am I going to be rich? Am I going to live forever? Am I going to die tomorrow? Am I going to die today? I think really the benefit of it is not to be like, nothing's real. The benefit is to be like, it's as real as you make it. Like, you can take it seriously and you can have a good life and whatever that entails, and know you do your best and know that you don't understand, which once again gets back to Christianity, where it's like, you can go back to basically being like, I don't understand reality. The more I understand about it, the more I understand I don't understand it. And that means like chances are there's something above me that does understand it better. Maybe not perfectly, but understands it better and is outside of this realm of the universe of existence or whatever. And then, that means I'm not God. I'm not the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-perfect thing. That means there's probably rules that I should adhere to by some greater authority. Now, once again, that doesn't necessarily mean Christianity. That could mean Buddhism, or that could be something else. But it's where you accept, there's probably a higher authority, and then you try to figure out, well, what is the higher authority? And you say, well, Jesus makes sense, and that's, I don't know if that's real. I can't prove it, right? That's where faith comes in, right? Whereas Satanism or Luciferianism is really like, no, like, I don't agree with you. I'm perfect and I should be in charge. And then it's like, that's really all Satanism is really just like daddy issues, where it's like weirdly like, no, I'm perfect. I'm right. And it's like, well, why are you so insistent on being like correct about everything? And eventually God's like, yeah, sure. Like, go, like, you don't want to be in the family, go away. And then you go away and you go, no, I want to come back. Saying, no, like, you don't want him in the family. Like, you're not participating. Every time you're in the family, like, say you should be in charge instead of trusting like a higher authority figure. And that's like rejection of like, that's what daddy issues are. It's a rejection of a father figure. And that's like what Satanism is, really. And that's why like that makes no sense. Like, why can't you accept that? Yeah, you obviously, like, I was born in 1995. There's an entire world before me, ostensibly. I can't prove there was or wasn't, but I can just believe there was, right? Chances are I didn't just pop into existence and then my family popped into existence and the world popped into existence at the exact same time. Chances are the world existed before me and led to me. It's like we have repeatable things that even if it doesn't really make sense, it makes sense enough. So like, I probably don't know everything, and there's probably people before me who knew more about the world than me. It's like, why would I, like, so I'm the ultimate authority? Like, there's so much I haven't seen, and it's also like robbing yourself of like, if you think you're the ultimate authority, you've robbed yourself of like discovering things because you don't know everything. If you know everything, you can't discover things. If you don't know everything, if there's a higher authority, higher power, then all of a sudden you can discover things because you aren't all-knowing God, right? If you're all-knowing God, you know everything. If you're not, then guess what? You can find out, when you scratch the lottery ticket, are you going to win or not, right? You can find, a friend or a loved one, or invent something that you had no idea existed, or discover, a song that you had no idea existed because you're not God, right? And so that's like, yeah, if you say, oh, I'm not God and I'm not the ultimate authority, I don't know everything. Guess what? Now there's room to learn stuff that's actually fun and pro life affirming and pro your time on Earth or wherever. And so it's a lot healthier than being like, I know everything. Because if you know everything, then what's the point of being alive? But you're still alive, so better hope you don't know everything. Because if you know everything, you're still alive. That's hell.
Could be a blueprint.
Start of something.
Yeah, start of something.
I hope you're right. I mean, we need it, right? I think if we think of all the unmet needs left at a conference at JP Morgan, you're reminded of like the incredible pipeline of the industry. But most of that is sort of like chipped out of stone. It's like hard work, and especially occasionally we can harness systems like when monoclonal antibodies came around. We basically hijacked biology's way of making solutions to infections and other things.
Jay Dyer is a Satanist. I don't think he's a Satanist. I think he's just I don't know. I think he's very rude sometimes.
Mostly what we do is like really empirical and like chipping away and very difficult.
He's a very rude person sometimes. That's okay though.
There's only one of them, and one brushstroke and it's wrong. If we can make that an engineering,
he's a very millennial. I think he's like Gen X.
Sort of discovery and artisanal drug making problem.
What really got me was when I realized, because I thought about millennial stuff, but I thought about it and I realized all the things millennials are blamed for are really just Gen X. Like all the movies and all the games and all the writing, TV writing, those are always done by Gen X. Gen X are always in charge of the projects. And I said, wait a second, millennials actually did nothing wrong, ever. They're actually the best in the world.
Think of the impact on human life.
The first chips that I worked on, my first generation of computers, were quite empirical. There are some rules that we used, and we applied some intuition. We have no clue how it's going to perform. We know that it's going to perform better than the last one we built because we made mistakes, and so we could at least correct those mistakes, and we'll have more transistors and more everything, so it's going to do better. However,
hit that follow button. We're running out of time.
Its performance completely estimated. Today, we know the functionality of the systems we.
Who's ruining everything Gen X created? I don't know about that. That's the thing too. I don't. That's like where I kind of diverge with like Sam Hyde and stuff. Where it's like, there's a lot of ugliness in the world. There's a lot of stupid, cringe, and like annoying things in the world. And the more you focus on it, the more you'll find it because you'll find stuff related. And it's like, there's also a lot of really cool stuff in the world. There's also a lot of really fun stuff in the world. And the more you focus on it, the more you'll find it. So it's like, what do I want to find if I'm going on a treasure hunt? I want to find valuable stuff that I think is cool, not stuff that I think is like stupid. And I think that's like wrong to inspire bad thoughts in people, especially when you're an adult. When you're a kid trying to figure it out, that's fine. But like, there's got to be like a healthy middle ground that's veering towards like being wise. That's like the Bible. It's like as innocent as doves and as wise as serpents. And then there's also the Bible verse with Paul is like, whatever is good and whatever is true, think about such things or whatever. And I think that's true. I think that's like the flaw of a lot of people in these circles, which is like they try to focus on negative stuff and they focus on like where things are failing. And it's not that things aren't failing. It's just so you have to think, well, things are failing, but what are they being replaced by? You have to think things are dying. Well, what are they feeding? That's like living. And to me, it's like it's the AI stuff. It's the creative stuff. Like my Twitter feed is so positive and so full of like art.
Army Toddler sent
stuff.
$10. Why did it take Andy and Man on the Moon so long to realize that he was in a TV show? Do people really not at least entertain they are in a simulation and they are
freaking me out, giving me like heart palpitations hearing that. If I run outside and get hit by a car, it's your fault. That is like a thing to think about too. It's like, what if we're just in a TV show? Why can't the TV show be about me being rich? That's the thing too. Is like change the channel, make me rich, swagged out. But imagine you call suicide hotline and Jay Dyer picks up. Yeah. Fallacious attitude is genuinely upsetting. Yeah, and I think killing yourself is a logical fallacy. That's the thing too, is like that. I don't get the suicide thing being bad. Like I think if people kill themselves, it sucks for who's alive still. But there's a reason they kill themselves, and it's like they went through the pain. That's one thing I don't get about like Christianity or stuff. I've never killed myself or wanted to kill myself. I've wanted to die, but I've never wanted to kill myself. But if somebody like knowing what it feels like to want to die, like literally, I feel like if somebody actually does kill themselves, it's like they should be. That's like damn, like that's like a mark against their family and their friends, not against them, in my opinion. Now, if you don't know the person too well and they kill themselves, that's like sucks. But I don't know. I think suicide is like a reasonable response sometimes. I don't think it's good to do. I think it's I think it's way better for you if you don't do it. But I think there's certain things get so bad. It's like damn, I can't blame them. You know. Plato argues it's wrong to take your own life because it doesn't belong to you. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. Like stealing from the gods. Well, it's like, why did they give you something you stole from them? You know, maybe they wanted you to steal from it. Maybe that's how you become a god. But we're going off in a very unhealthy direction, talking about suicide. But yeah, I think there's and I think you can kind of tell what's healthy and not healthy by whether or not you're inspired and whether or not you're able to do things. And if you're able to do things and get things done, I think it's partially why I was kind of annoyed with myself, where I was like, you know, I was going on a good path and like I got slowed down. Because it wasn't like, oh, I was like annoyed at myself for being slowed down. But imagine hating the world so much just to kill yourself and go somewhere worse. That's the thing too. I don't like that idea of like, oh, if you kill yourself, you go to hell. Because then it's like, oh, you want to die, but if you kill yourself, you'll go somewhere worse. It's like that's not a healthy way to think about the world. That's not a healthy way to keep somebody there. That'd be like if somebody wants to leave a relationship and you're like, oh, you want to leave the relationship? But you can, but it's gonna suck for you and you're gonna be raped. Like, what? Doesn't seem like a healthy way. Like a healthy way would be like, oh, you want to leave? You can leave. I want the best for you. It's not gonna be in the world if you leave for you or me. But I can understand if things are so bad and you don't see any way out, you want to leave. You're free to go. Like it's not gonna ruin your life. That seems like a much healthier way of like thinking about things and like, oh yeah, you can leave, but you can get gang raped. Like, wait a second, that doesn't sound like you know what I mean? I don't know. That's just seem like it's better not to think about it too much, in my opinion. But it doesn't really make sense to me.
Created down to every single bit, the performance we can measure, we simulate everything, and so we know exactly what we're going to produce. I really believe that could revolutionize the future.
It would. If we can make that come true, even for a part of human biology.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you killed yourself and became a ghost. That would be so cool, dude. I feel like that would be like a perfect like somebody who suffered and they suffered so much that they killed themselves willingly, and then you just get to become a ghost. But it's not like a scary ghost. You just get to do what you want and like joke around and troll people, and it's like awesome. I feel like that would be like my version of like the Bible. But that's why I didn't write the Bible, because otherwise you'd have like stuff like that where it's like, and if you kill yourself, you just become a ghost to like trick your friends and like troll people and have fun and do what you want and float around and be like kind of undercut the point and kind of ruin the point of the Bible. But that would be my version of the Bible, just having random stuff like that.
That's right. And so tell me, GLP-1, you were saying that it's really in its third phase.
Yeah, already, yeah.
And where does it go from here? What happens? What other things can you use it for? How could it change?
What is consciousness and what does it cease to exist just because you die? I don't know.
Obesity is like a key linchpin.
I think we'll find out when we die.
In adults. And like a lot of things in evolution, most of the elements of today weren't concerns in our evolutionary past, but we evolve much slower than our environment is, and so we're maladapted to the modern world. And obesity is one of those things. We grew up in a world of scarcity. Sounds like you grew up in a world of scarcity, but most people here didn't. Our ancestors did. And so
that's behind me.
There was no.
I don't.
Not really worth taking chances. That's the logic. Yeah, once again, I think we're here. Why not figure out? You know, my whole thinking, especially now that I'm older, it's like you're here, you're in like a car ride with your parents. You don't know where the car is going. Why, if you're stuck in the car, why jump out the window? Why not just do what you can to make the best of the trip? Where you end up, who knows? You can guess. You can have, you know, maybe if you trust your parents and they say you're going somewhere, why not trust them, right? You're going to Chuck E. Cheese. You know, that would be like the argument of being a Christian and believing, you know, choosing to believe, right? And if they lie to you and you don't go to Chuck E. Cheese, it's like, did you mess up by, you know, believing? Which is kind of like the whatever Pascal's wager. But not even that. It's like, why not choose to believe it? Not because it's like, well, I hope I'm right, but more like, yeah, why not? Why not have faith? Why not choose the best interpretation? What's the reason not to?
I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression.
There was no need for an off switch on hunger.
The word is abundance now.
Abundance.
I read Phaedo.
And we live in a
I
world
read Phaedo. I read all this Plato's. I read that big Plato book a few times.
of caloric.
Abundance of intelligence, abundance of productivity, abundance of those kind of things.
And
I don't know what you were thinking about, but my life is surrounded by abundance.
But unfortunately, we're all in caloric abundance now. And there was no need for us to wire in an off switch evolutionarily. So that's why we have obesity, and that leads to many, many chronic diseases that ail people and probably shorten life. I think by having a pretty effective set of tools, going to get more effective, and I'll get back to that in a second.
What I don't understand about the GLP stuff is like, I don't have to worry about that. Am I just hard capped at a certain lifespan? Like, why can't, this doesn't benefit me, does it? So why are we doing this? Why are we doing stuff to make fat people live longer? Why can't I make stuff for skinny people live longer, you know?
To really help people manage that, to create an off switch synthetically in a way.
Makes no sense.
We can downregulate a lot of diseases, over 200 chronic diseases.
No kidding.
So the two big evolutions that are going to happen in the next 24 months are real progress on more choices. So GLP-1 is one peptide, but it's in a family. And by combining two...
If you get fat, I would not. What if I just didn't? Why would I get fat? I wouldn't.
In terzepatide, GIP plus GLP, we see we can get better performance and better tolerability. I think you expect more of that kind of thing in the future. So
yeah, that's the thing that is like weird too. Is like all these people, it's like these people are old. All these government people are old, and all these company people are old. It's like, why aren't? What are they? How is it not possible? How is anything other than them figuring out how to live forever happening? Whoops. That's a good one to end it on, honestly. We'll end it on that. That's a good question. How is, like, all these people with infinite money and these infinite machines, as they get older, why wouldn't they just devote all the power to figuring out how to live forever? Yeah, why wouldn't they? Well, it's like if you're dying and you're in control of supercomputers and they can think, how are you not going to say, make me live forever? And how is that not going to be the end? You know? Think about that. All right, guys. Well, this has been an amazing stream. Hit the follow button. Thank you for the money. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the interactions. And yeah, think about that. Orthodox Square, that is not appropriate to say. That is not appropriate to say, but that is like something to think about. Like, once you have an infinite machine that can answer any question for you, why do you not invest, number one, in living forever? Can you figure out a reason why you wouldn't? Or bringing somebody back from the dead. You know, why wouldn't you say, oh, you have a miscarriage of your child, or your child gets hit by a car, and you have an infinite machine? How are you not going to say, bring my child back to life? Make a perfect replica of my child? What is going to stop you? How are you ever going to be stopped if you have access to a machine that can do that? And it doesn't matter. Like, you have your religion, you have your beliefs, and then your daughter dies, gets shot. And then you're like heartbroken. Like, how are you not going to say, yeah, devote 50% of these machines to figure out how to get my daughter back to life? And once that bridge is crossed, it's over, dude. Because then everything is broken. Then it's like life and death is broken itself. And is that good? Is that bad? And then once you see it happen, and you're somebody who's not rich and a billionaire, and you see somebody else's daughter was brought back to life, how do you not try to like get that free? How does that not become your number one goal for the rest of your life? Willing to kill for that, How does the world go on when that happens? Because that'll happen eventually. And then after that, just say you're me and you have a machine that makes you $1 million, and you can basically use it to duplicate you and yourself and make a streamer that just talks and looks real and looks not like you, but looks like alternate versions of you and is trained on a corpus of your data. What's to stop you from putting all your money into as many machines as streams as possible and streamers as possible, and having them interact with each other and interact with people that are, in order to become successful and make you even more money to make even more streamers? How do you know? How do you know somebody like Nick hasn't been killed already and been replaced with a clone? A clone from ChatGPT? How do you know that you haven't been... Okay, good night. I'm going to bed. I will see you later. But that's all food for thought. And we'll do one song and we will go to bed after that. All right? Sound good?